everybody, it's the Mobile Home Mama. I have a nice quiet Saturday, so I thought I would come over here to the factory and just do a rundown of how it's made. Let's talk about how a manufactured home is made. What you're looking at right now is our line of homes going all the way down, and you can see side by side we have a manufactured home and a modular home being built in the same factory with the same materials, and clearly you can see the difference is the bottom of the home. We've got a steel frame here and wooden floor joists here. We also have some wooden floor joists here, which we're going to see in a minute, but there's no steel frame underneath of this home. And as you look down the line, you notice most of them are manufactured homes. People are really starting to open up their perception and their opinions on a manufactured home. So let's talk about step by step how a manufactured home is made. Right there, we've got a big baby. That looks like the largest we make, a 32 by 76 frame. That's one half of the home. But let's start at the very beginning with the floors. Starting out, this is our floor department, and we've got a manufactured home, which is the other half to this home. By the way, whether you're doing manufactured or modular, if you're gonna do a sectional, they're gonna go down the line together, side by side, because we have to be constantly checking between the two halves, the clearance and we have a little bit of leeway from door frame to door frame. So we're constantly measuring and checking that. But here we go, and I wanna point out that the very most important parts of the home are built on a jig table. We're going to see a few of those today. And the reason is we're not out there in the field and we're not out there being able to line things up. We have to make sure that home is squared before it leaves the factory. So first part of a manufactured home is going to be this piece of material right here. And you can see that it's doubled up on the inside and it looks like a garbage bag, but when you get closer, you can see that there's some interwoven fibers in between it. So it's super strong, and this is a vapor barrier. That's the very first level. Now, when you look at it, when it's completed on the home, you can see that it's going to hold everything together that's underneath of these floor joists. So, but when it's completed, it'll be stapled on just to kind of hold everything inside the guts of the bottom, right? So that will be cut however size of home that you're doing. We've got a modular right here on the line. So this modular seems to be a 56. So if you're doing a 56 manufactured home, you can see we have a dip right here in the table. That vapor barrier would be laid out and would lay in that dip right there. Okay, the second part you can see sitting over there is going to be an R11 blanket insulation. So we've got a layer of vapor barrier, then we're going to take the cotton candy stuff and we're going to do a blanket of insulation on top of that. And then up on that platform up there, you can see why it's so long, we're going to build the water line system. You can see the water line sticking up over here. PEX is the material that we're going to use, and we're going to build that according to the floor plan where the kitchens, bathrooms, water sources are, and that's going to be the next level. Now, we also will be doing the heat duct, the duct work on top. We have an aluminum heat duct that is inline sectional heating. That means it's going to be a trunk of aluminum heat duct that's going to go down each section right down the middle. And so will your heat registers, unless you tell us to do a perimeter heat. And in that case, we would run extensions out from that inline sectional heat duct and put your registers up against the interior perimeter wall. So they would, for example, they would be right there if you're doing a manufactured home. Same thing in a modular. So after that, we are going to start with the floor joist system. On a 28 wide, you'll have a 2x6 floor joist. On a 32 wide, you're going to have a 2x8. Now, looking at this modular, this is a 2x10, but that's an upgraded feature in a modular. So that's something that you have to add if you're doing modular. In a manufactured home, 2x8, that's as good as it gets, but it's plenty enough because we'll talk about that in just a second. Down there on that rolling cart, you can see a track right here, and that's going to be stacked up full of floor joists, and that cart rolls this way. So you're going to have the perimeter floor joists are going to be laying flat on this table all the way around, creating your square of your base, and then these fellers are going to roll that down, boom, 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 dropping in the floor joist. Then you've got some operators that are gonna flip this up so that it's like that, and they'll be screwing in, lag bolting in actually, the floor joist to the inside floor joists as well. So once that's complete, they'll be fastening the water line system to the floor joists, and they will also start with the 5/8 inch OSB floor decking. Now you can upgrade that to 3/4 if you like, and that's something that I highly recommend. You don't have to, but if you're going to put anything heavy in your home, you're going to want to do that. Gun safes, pianos, treadmills, anything like that, just give your floor a little extra cushion. So we're going to glue and we're going to nail that on, and that will be the completion of this step. Then once that's complete, you can see these big cranes are going to pick up that entire base and bring it next door here to the next section. Now here we are to a manufactured home. You can see that we've created the base of the home, and we've got a 2x8 floor joist here. That's a little bit bigger, but not by much. But there's something that a manufactured home has that a modular does not, and that's a 12-inch steel frame underneath. So through that open door, they're gonna roll in this steel frame while this is suspended in the air, and when that rolls in, they gently will place this on top. You'll have some guys rolling around like they're working on a car underneath, lag bolting the frame to the base right here. Then they're going to start popping up the water lines, popping up the electric, cutting out any heat registers or heat vents, and they're going to sand with a heavy-duty sander everywhere where this OSB comes together in the tongue and groove. We need a nice smooth surface because next we're rolling to the lino station. But in the meantime, while we're preparing to do the floor, there's some things that we need to do upstairs here. This is our cabinet shop. Nothing is shipped in its entirety. We're going to hand build every cabinet, many different colors to choose from, and also material to choose from. The standard cabinet is a pressed wood with a vinyl wrapping, and then we also offer a hardwood cabinet as well. So we do all kinds of cabinets, pantries, uppers, lowers, sinks, anything you can think of, we pretty much do it. Now let's talk about countertops. Countertops are made with a Formica type of material. We also do a solid surface countertop that you can see right here, only in certain floor plans because we don't hand make these here, we ship them in. So the Formica countertops, however, we're gonna cut those for you. Aluma marble, that's new for this year. Glacier quartzite's been around for a while, and then we have some others that are also available for you. Next up, we're gonna be in the interior walls. We do, this is the drywall plant. So when they're building a drywall home, here's another jig table. They're gonna lay this jig table out with a 1/2-inch thickness drywall. Then they're gonna create the walls with 2x3 rafters on the table. Then they're gonna seal the cracks and crevices with an expanding adhesive. And when that's finished, they'll kick the wall up. They'll be taping and texturing where the drywall pieces come together, putting on a light primer. And when it's finished to dry, let's take a look at how it looks. That's the finished product. You're gonna see, we're gonna use this adhesive. Also, could very well be an insulator. Down to the lino department, we've got 3 colors for this year. We've got a Harbor Light, a Thunder, and then a natural oak in the back. And what will happen is the operator is going to pull the lino and walk it the entire length of the chassis. Now, we're not going to put lino underneath where you're going to have carpet. We're only going to take it and we're going to cut it where the lino is going to be. You can see here, we've got a wall there. This is going to be carpet, and down there, there's some more carpet spaces. But once that's complete, we're going to put a piece of plastic to protect it through the build process. And then we're going to start pulling those interior walls over. We're going to staple around the perimeters and also glue at any water sources. And then the cabinets are going to come over and they're just going to kind of hang out because next we got to run some electric. Here we go to the next station, and here we're going to be putting in hot water heaters, furnaces, bathtubs. We're going to be completing the plumbing system. You can see we're going to have a nice tiled shower going on here. We've got the plumbing already in place. And The cabinets are sitting where they're supposed to be. If there's no electric running through them, we may have already fastened the cabinet there. This is going to be a nice feature. You can tell that's going to be a fireplace right there. Oh yeah, I know this house. You guys know this house. This is an Odyssey house. Cabinets are still kind of hanging out, just waiting to be installed and have electricity running through them. But if you have a cabinet that has the plumbing, we're already starting to fasten that in. Another bathtub, another shower. And the washer dryer area is starting to be plumbed as well. Ooh, there's a hall tree. Our exterior walls, and those are built the exact same way as the interior wall, except we're going to do an extra step here. This is where you have the option to do a 2x6 wall. I highly recommend it. That means we're going to put some R19 insulation in the wall when you have a 2x6. And we're also going to do one other thing. Here comes another vapor barrier. You can see the white substance in there. That's a vapor barrier that we spray in. Once complete, these walls will be picked up and taken over and fastened to the exterior of each base. These 4 sections are electrical. I don't get into that too much. Receipts, lights, panel boxes, furnaces, all the electrical stuff you can imagine or think of happens in the next 4 stations. Let's go over and take a look at the roof. It's an excellent thing to talk about. On this home, you can see we've got a 312 roof pitch, which is standard on a modular and a manufactured. You do have the opportunity to upgrade to a 512 roof pitch. You can see here we've got a hinged roof, so it's coming up and it's hinged right here. And when this gets to the property, the roof will be raised, so you have a steeper roof pitch. That's going to make your home look a lot more like a stick-built home, so an excellent feature to add there. And then coming over here, we've got a 512 roof on the table. Here we go with another jig table, and then we're going to do 24-inch on center. And you can see that we're spray foaming the drywall to the rafters, and then going down, we've got gauges that's going to tell the operator how much blown in insulation to blow into the roof once it's placed on the home. When we're complete and finished with the roof here on the table, the big crane will pick it up and take it next door for processing. Okay, so now the roof is in place and ready for processing. We're going to tape and texture where the drywall pieces come together. Next, we're going to spray another vapor barrier on the ceiling of the roof. And after that, we're going to lightly stomp it with a mud texture. No popcorn ceilings, nothing to worry about there. Just a nice light texture to give a visual appearance to the roof, or to the ceiling, excuse me. And once that's complete, a crane will pick this entire roof up and take it and place it on the home. Now you can see the roof is attached to the home, and you can see where the insulation right there is blown into the roof. Next, we're going to be placing a solid wrap of OSB all the way around the home. That comes with the drywall and also the drywall package. And if you're not going to do drywall, it is an option indeed, something I very highly recommend that you add to the home. And then we're also going to put a Tyvek weather wrap over top of that. And now we've got the meat and potatoes of the home. So we're going to start adding exterior doors, windows. Those were added, actually a station back. Windows, and let's go down the middle of the home and see what's happening on the inside. So from side to side, bedroom, utility back there, bath number 2, walking into the front door, this is the living area. You've got a coat closet. If you're in the Midwest, you guys always hear me say you need to have a coat closet. And this looks like a home with an optional summit kitchen. And in that summit kitchen, you're going to get a lot of nice things. You're going to get the drawers over doors, the island, the walk-in pantry. So as you can see, we're starting to finish off the cabinetry at this section. And also we're starting to make sure we're mudding and taping and texturing. Okay. At the top of the roof, we're adding a 7/16 roof sheathing, and then your shingles are going on top of that, available in black or brown. Here at the next station, we're going to be adding the vinyl siding, available in many different colors. We've got windows, lineal trims. We would also be working on any dormers that you've ordered here. Installing the gasket that goes between the two homes. If we're heading down this way, you can see the cabinetry is in. Another Summit kitchen here. Oh, no. I know this home too. That back there is a butler's pantry, a separate room. Oh yes, this is cute. That's interesting. All right. So we're really starting to come together here. Let's go to the next station. Okay, now we're getting closer to the final finish of the home, but first we need to do some cosmetic stuff. So this is the trim station where all of the trim will be added, and trim is really a heavy-duty job if you think about it, right? You've got window trim, door trim, ceiling cove, bottom cove, trim everywhere. So the trimming part is a big job. This is called the ready to ship department, and this is where we're going to start finishing off the home. At this station right here, we're going to be adding carpet and also tile work. I haven't quite got the tile in on this one. Then at the next station, we're going to be filling the home with water, gas, triple checking the electric one more time, and also we're going to be preparing the home for shipping. Now, we've come a long way from that black material that we started with, right? Now, inside your home, before we ship it, we're going to put everything you need to install the home. You've seen in my videos, sometimes when I walk in a living room, I'm like, can barely walk through it because there's so much stuff on the inside. And that's what that stuff is. Oh, look at that. How cute is that fireplace? I love coming over here and just checking things out. You can always see new kind of stuff that people are designing all over the place. And finally, at the last station, we'll do our final quality control checks, make sure everything is as you've ordered it, and then final cleaning happens here, then it heads out the door and it's ready for me to check. So that's how we do it, and that's how a manufactured home is made.